Hi, everybody. It's Carol. Two things before I even start on our topic. I got two life lessons this week. One was I watched the Food Network star, Next Food Network star, and I watched the contestants, and they had all kinds of life and personality when they were being interviewed. And then when the camera got turned on them, they lost it. They were blah and boring. And I thought, that's exactly what you do, Carol. So I'm going to try hard this week to have a little personality because I do have personality. I just don't show it in these videos like Kathy and Brenda do. So the other thing was I saw a post on Facebook that said, hey, people, if you take a picture of your room, make sure you clean it up before you do. So I'm sorry, my room is always a mess. It's a home office and I just can't clean it up every week. So that struck home with me as well. So to our topic. I have used Google Docs, as you both probably have used Google Docs as well. In our last course, in another course that I was taking, we had group projects, and that was my first collaborative effort with Google Docs, a real collaborative effort with Google Docs, where I used it several times. And we didn't start using Google Docs. We started with an email forum. That's how we decided we were going to start out collaborating, and it was horrible. We had probably 32 emails going back and forth for this one document that we were supposed to turn in, and the emails went something like, what do you think of this? Or that's the wrong copy, that's the wrong revision, and sounds good. And so you never really knew what you were commenting on, and we had to say that several times. Well, I don't know what you mean. And so it was very cumbersome, and we all agreed that for the next project we would use a Google Doc, and it really worked so much better. So that having that latest revision is a huge feature, I think, and having one copy that you're not cutting and pasting, that it's all right there, is also another really fantastic feature. Another feature that I think is great is the auto save feature. This is my second take on this video because my computer died in the middle of the first one. So that alone would have been nice to have saved. I'm not saying that I won't use the other one. I may end up using it, but for a Word doc, I have lost many things before because I've walked away from my computer and it shut down and it wasn't saved. So I do think that that's really a nice feature. Also, one of my group partners last time showed us how to use the slides feature, and I ended up using that for my final project in the other course, and I really liked that for the auto save feature as well, in addition to the fact that there is that Google search that's incorporated into the Google document and the Google Slides. That's really a nice feature as well. So I think it's just a great tool, and I definitely would use it for collaboration in the classroom. One thing that I would like answered this week, maybe you all understand this, Kathy and Brenda, I don't really get the share feature. I overshare. Dr. Langhorst knows this because I would share in an email to him, and I shared on Moodle, but I don't think that there's a way to share to Moodle or to post in Moodle without putting it into a Word document. And if there's a way to do that, I'd be interested to know. When I've tried to post for this course from a Google Doc, I've either downloaded it as a PDF and shared it like that, or I've copied the link, put it on a Word document, and then submitted that document with the link. And so maybe there's a better way to do that. I can't figure out what it is. So that I don't understand. When we did our dinner and a movie project, one thing that I thought was very cool about it was when I typed in the name of my movie, Forrest Gump, I highlighted it, and there was a pop-up from the document that gave me some video clips. It just automatically launched a search of video clips. And I thought that was really cool that it did that. I didn't have any idea that it would do that. And I'd already looked for my video clips, and so I found one that I wanted from YouTube. So I thought I would be clever this time, I guess. And so I tried that little embed word, that word embed. And when you click on embed in YouTube, you get an address. So I tried to right click that and copy and paste it onto the Google Doc, and it said, this doesn't look like it's real. Are you sure you want to use this, or this isn't going to work? And I thought, okay, so this is Google Doc for dummies, because they wouldn't let me do it. And so then I went back to the share feature like we ordinarily do, and that worked just fine. So I thought this is also a good tool, Google Docs, because it helps those of us who are not technologically savvy work through the process. It allowed me to still get a video clip if I hadn't been able to find one on my own, for instance. And it also helped me to post my own and do it the right way. So I thought that that was a great idea as well. One of the things from that article by Susan Oxnevad, I guess Oxnevad is how you say her name, 5 Ways to Use Google Docs in the Classroom, was that she noted that EasyBib is integrated into Google Docs, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, but I think that that is a really excellent tool for those of us who want to teach, because we want our students to know that you have to cite your sources, that you have to give credit, that you can't plagiarize, you can't just cut and paste stuff from the internet and call it yours. And so I think with that integration of EasyBib, it's saying, okay, you've chosen this source, now you need to give credit. Here's your bibliographic source for this. So I think that that would be a great way as a learning tool to use the EasyBib add-on for Google Docs as well. So I liked that, and I appreciated her article about how to use Google Docs in the classroom. One feature that was mentioned in the Anson Alexander video on how to, there was the tutorial on using Google Docs, and I tried to use this and I couldn't find it, so maybe you can help me. He said that you could upload a Google Doc or a Google, or I mean, I'm sorry, not a Google Doc, a Microsoft Word file, like a Word document or a folder into a Google Doc. And so I typed my recipe in a Word doc thinking that, okay, I'm going to try that, because I thought that was really a good feature. And I think Dr. Langhorst mentioned that they even put full units in Google Docs, and I don't know if they create them in Google Docs or if they do them in of course, I think they use Mac, but anyway, I did not find that feature. I don't know where that was. And so I would be interested to know how to do that, because I think that that would be a really good learning tool. For instance, if you created a document, or maybe you scanned something even, and you had it had a bunch of errors in it, you could use it as an editing document for your students to have them find the errors in the document. I think it has a lot of potential, and I just would be interested to know how to do that. So anyway, when I was trying to figure out how I would personally use, as an example, a Google Doc in the classroom, I watched a video on the Learning Channel that was called Using Google Docs in the Classroom. Pretty straightforward title. And there was a high school English teacher whose name was Susan Wessing. And so in her classroom, she had the students set up in desks, groups of 4, and the desks were facing each other, and each student had a tablet. And they were working on a shared Google document, and they were writing a story. And one hint that I got from her, which she meant in a different way, but I thought was important, was she encouraged a student to give a particular character a color of font to use. So Olivia was the character's name. She said, give Olivia purple font. And I thought, if you were collaborating as a group, if you each chose a different color font, that would make collaboration easy, because you could see who was typing what at one time. And so why I think that's important is, in an online class, when we got together and we all happened to be on the document at the same time, which was sort of interesting because it's an asynchronous situation, we were on there and we were all typing and moving things, and it got a little bit confusing, because here is this black font, this black type that's moving from place to place on the document, and you're not really sure who's typing it. And so having a color coding certainly would help with that. I thought that was, a good suggestion of her to do that for the character, but I also think that would work to do for the collaborators as well. I also think that in the classroom, you not only have where you can highlight and make a comment next to someone's work, as Dr. Langhorst showed us, but there's also a chat pane, and we use that where that's outside of the revision history. So if you want to chat with your partners and say, I don't think Dr. Langhorst will like this particular thing, then Dr. Langhorst, I don't believe, will see that you've said that. And so I think that that's a good thing to have too, just so that it provides that sort of private chat among group collaborators. And I think that that's a good thing for, for group members to have. The other thing was that Ms. Wessing said that she thought that it was good to, the students then, as the bell rang, she said, all right, you all have a saved copy of this, go home and finish it tonight. And so there was none of that having to, again, email passed around. They could just continue right where they had been. And I think that that's important. Also, I think that she then only gets 1/4 of the paper. As she said, I don't have as many papers to maneuver. She gets 1 paper from 4 students. And then also, as Dr. Langhorst had mentioned, when you make comments, if you can do that voice command, I thought that was really a great idea to be able to just say what you want to say instead of having to type it all out. I think that that would be an easy way to give some assessment feedback. So anyway, I want to see if you all notice this feature, and then I'm going to quit. One of the things on the Google Docs toolbar is a thing called add-ons, and I had never noticed this. And if you click on add-ons, there are like 25 or more add-ons for Google Docs, and they're free, and they were things like EasyBib that was mentioned already that will create those bibliographic citations, just like Al Purdue would or something like that. There was a template gallery that had only 9 templates for students and teachers. There was a thing called MindMeister, which was a mapping tool. So you make a bulleted list and then it maps it. So if you have that visual learner, it gives the chart. There were also graph and chart apps, which didn't interest me, but again, might interest somebody else. They had a thing called Orange Slice Teacher Rubric that presents a scored rubric and a grade. And you would just add the rubric to the template that you give students so that they can follow that as they're doing their work. And then when you turn it in, you grade from that and it presents a grade to the students. There's also an Orange Slice student rubric that can be used for peer review, so that when the students, if you want them to do peer review, you build the student rubric from the teacher rubric so that it's all the same thing. Then the students do the scoring, return it to the teacher, and it's submitted for a grade. I thought that was pretty genius. There's another one called Zoo Express that's a writing feedback tool. And Lisa would have loved this. It had color coding and punctuation and grammar. I mean, it was really great. And a grading tool. It was fabulous, I thought. And then another one called Rhyme Finder, and I think she would have loved that too. You just take a word and you put it in, in your, like if you have prose and you want to turn it into poetry, it gives you a word that rhymes for you. So it works it out for you. And they weren't, cheesy particularly. Some of them were, but it was good. So anyway, I'm a fan of Google Docs. I'll be anxious to hear what you had to say about your experiences this week. Sorry this is so long.